All right, my man Cooper Housley in the house going up against Logan Greenhalgh, June 28th, Power Slap number 8 at Fontainebleau. And as always, live and free on Rumble. How excited were you, my man, when Logan Greenhalgh was the competitor to go up against you?
I'm pretty excited. I was excited in general to get another fight, especially coming off of, in my opinion, knockout of the year so far for the fights that we've had.
Yeah, I mean, it was spectacular, my man. You took care of fashion. You put yourself on the map, got that extra paycheck, and boom, you're coming back. Power Slap 7, Power Slap number 8. Great to obviously have your stock continue to rise and be relevant in that in the division, which I think is critically important to obviously stay relevant, stay timely in the heavyweight division that's really open right now. How are you feeling overall going in this match? You recovered, you're feeling well overall?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I don't want to say I'm feeling too confident because the second you start feeling too confident, that's when you get rocked. But
Totally.
definitely feeling good going into the fight. Looking at the opponent I have, looking at just the situation as a whole. I'm super excited. I've already been starting to train, getting the good jaw exercises in, getting some slaps in on the bob. Now it's just weight cutting time. This being said, looking like burritos and Mountain Dew, so I got to switch it over to taquitos and Diet Mountain Dew for this.
Awesome, man. Where were you weight-wise last time? Did you have
Uh,
to cut?
yeah, I usually walk around about 290, 295.
Okay.
In about 3 to 4 weeks, I can cut that without too much issue. Just Stairmaster for an hour, and then cut my calories to about 1,200, and that's my weight cut, and I'm good.
Gotcha. I mean, so you are fighting up in the rank. You're number 7th right now, contender in the heavyweight division, going up against number 6. What have you seen in Logan's game from the matches that you've been able to watch?
Not a ton. Uh, he steps a lot. And that's one of those things that, especially with this many people, you're gonna have 2,500 people in the building. When you're not used to that, it's gonna mess with you. I'm more used to that. More used to being out in front of crowds, doing stuff, hearing all kinds of random bullshit get yelled at me. It doesn't really phase me too much. But when everybody steps up, quite literally, we'll see how it goes. 2,500 people at the Fontainebleau.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Do you think the crowd's going to get to him? Do you think that could be something that gives you the advantage? Obviously, we know you have a pro wrestling career. You perform in front of people, every weekend or every other weekend. Do you think it's going to give you a bit of an advantage to be able to harness in that moment?
So even if it doesn't necessarily harm him, it's a boost for me. And at the end of the day, I don't really care what he comes into with having stuff harm him. I never want to come in with a handicap, but it's like the crowd for me is something that I know I'm going to be able to feed off of. I know I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be ready to go.
Yeah, we weren't able to see you in front of obviously live on the last one, but do you feel like you're going to be able to harness, a bit of that showmanship to kind of play up to the crowd and kind of get them on your side and kind of thrive with some of that energy?
I think so. If you look at some of the guys, some of the the fan favorites that Power Slap has, it's like you get some of these guys on the card that are jacked, 8-pack, ripped to the gills, and it's like cool. They're boring as hell. They're getting knocked out quick. You get these guys with these nice dad bods. These just they don't necessarily. I don't want to say they don't hit the gym because a lot of these dudes work hard as hell. But it's like we're not working every day physique wise, and they're coming in, they're eating shots, they're knocking people out, they're just kind of chilling. But
I hear you. I mean, you talked about the fouls with Logan. Are you concerned at all about that impacting the outcome of your match in a 3-rounder?
um, not too much. I've been KO'd and gotten the DQ win before, so shit. If it happens, it happens. I'll wake up to a really really nice check. I'll wake up to being 3-0 at that point, and I'll just move on to the next one.
Gotcha, my man. Is that the South Park Ozempic version of the shirt you got? I hate to give him promo, but
My mom got me this for Christmas. Actually, she went
oh, nice.
to Roswell, and they
Okay,
had
nice. I'm not sure if you see that or not, but it looks like one of the new movies or features coming out. Cartman goes on Ozempic and apparently loses a ton of weight. Not that I'm promoting. Don't do Ozempic, kids out there. Do not do it. It is an awful drug. Do not do it.
I love South Park. That's
Yeah.
my shit.
It's all good, my man. I mean, what do you think a victory here would mean for you and your stock? Where do you kind of see it propel you? I don't want you to look past Logan, but should you pull out the victory?
And I definitely don't want to look past him either. He's a strong dude. He's a solid competitor. He's ranked six for a reason.
Hmm.
Um, I think honestly, if I get a win here, if I get a nice solid knockout, there's no reason I shouldn't be at or really, really, really close to a contender fight. Because you look at some of these other guys that are getting title fights. I don't want to. I'm not calling him out because he's definitely one of the hardest hitters, one of the best chins on the roster. But if you're looking at wins and losses, and you look at Danny going into main eventing this card, he just came off a loss,
Hmm.
off a disqualification, and it happens. It's not. It's just one of those things that I feel like wins and losses they matter sometimes. It
Hmm.
really depends on how much they like you. But
Gotcha.
I'm either gonna win until they like me or win until it matters.
Yeah. I mean, both you and Logan Greenhalgh, very similar in height. You're 6'2", he's 6'1" and a half. You're a little bit older, 25 versus 22. Logan comes in around that 240. You're coming in at 265 at the top of the weight class. Do you think that extra 25 pounds is going to make a difference in power?
Um, at the end of the day, probably not, because he's a power lifter.
Hmm.
He's been doing this weight class at this weight for however long he's been lifting. He's been like he's used to being a small person in a heavyweight class.
Hmm.
And so at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit there and give that to him because then, if someone knocks him on his ass that's 265, you can
Hmm.
just as easily say, oh, well, you should have been up toward the top of the weight class. It happens.
Hmm.
Weight's one of those ones where it can definitely make a difference, but at the end of the day, it's on you, like what you come in at. So it really just depends on the person.
Gotcha, my man. Logan, left-handed. Have you thought about that? Are you prepping any differently mentally?
So the only real thing I'm excited about is last fight. Stevie in the second one just rocked my nose. Shifted it a little tiny bit. Logan does a thing when he slaps where he comes across the front of your face a ton, as opposed to going real through you. Comes across the front of your face. So I already told my wife, I was like, hey, just so you know, I've seen how he slaps. If the nose gets broken, it's gonna happen. It's part of the game. But just working jaw exercises just like I would normally. It's not too big of a. If I let it be in my head that it's that big of a difference, then it's going to be that big of a difference. And if I don't, then it's not. Is kind of how I look at it.
Hmm. The beard seems to keep on growing longer and longer, man. Keeps getting wilder. Is that part of the plan?
I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where as a kid, I always loved like looking and seeing someone with a massive beard, and I was always like, oh yeah. I was like, I'm just gonna do that when I'm older. Like power slap or not, I've been growing my beard since I could grow facial hair at all. I don't think I've been fully clean shaven since I was like 16. So the beard's just one of those things that I don't think is ever going to go away. It hides my double chin so well. It just complements the baby face. It works real
Yeah.
well.
Awesome, man. I mean, great hearing from you as always. I appreciate you joining me, giving me this time. Where can people follow you on social media leading into the fight?
Social media, you can follow me on Instagram at Cooper Housley, and you can follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Housley Cooper. Those are the two that I use the most.
Awesome, man. What are you doing on Twitter? I mean, not a lot of people drop Twitter. I still think it's one of the most underrated platforms to be able to garner information. So what are you doing over on Twitter or X?
Oh God, this is gonna sound terrible, but I usually just watch people fighting, like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
watch street fights and stuff. Watch someone just get mauled for talking shit, and it's just whatever pops up in the for you. Like I'll get the most random off the wall shit that pops up in for you. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
if I've seen in the past, if I've liked, if I've sent what, but my phone has this real fun idea of who I am, and it really makes me laugh.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, for some reason, yeah, you just hit the nail on that. X, the algorithm that it creates for what it thinks you will like becomes very, very interesting, weird, or twisted, however you want to put it. But it definitely does curate to whatever your interests and your likes are. It fine tunes in on what you do, and definitely a pretty good, experience overall. But like I said, man, I appreciate you. I want you to travel safe weight cut. I want to see you there, be healthy, and be able to show up and show out come fight night.
Now, yeah, I appreciate you, boss.
All right, take care, my man.
You too.